afternoon and welcome to On the Spot Motorsports Media. We got a great show in store today. We got Brayden Davis that's going to be joining us, and he is going to talk a little bit about his NHRA debut that took place at Gainesville Raceway at the Gatornationals. But before we get into all that, we have a couple of messages, and we'll see you on the other side.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.
Ready to take your engine to the next level? Scorpion Racing Products delivers precision-engineered, high-performance rocker arms that dominate the track. 100% CNC machined in the USA with aerospace-grade aluminum for unmatched strength and durability. Our rocker arms handle extreme conditions with multiple ratios available to fit your needs. Backed by our exclusive lifetime warranty. When performance matters, choose Scorpion Racing Products. Proven, reliable, unstoppable.
Mr. Davis, I want to thank you for joining us tonight here at On the Spot Motorsports Media to talk about your NHRA debut that took place last weekend at the Gatornationals. And I tell you, it was a wet one. That's for sure, especially for Saturday. And I know that kind of hampered a lot of people making qualifying passes and try to do better to try to position themselves a little further up in the field. But first, I want you to kind of tell everyone a little bit about yourself. You've been racing ever since you were a young kid. Your father's a multi-time champion in PDRA. And I think you've even done some junior dragsters before hopping on the two wheels.
Yeah, so I started drag racing when I was 8 years old in a junior dragster, and I raced those all the way till I turned 18. And I had 2 world championships in junior dragsters, and I actually made my first ever pass on a drag bike. It was a little Kawasaki chassis bar bike. That run 560. I still have it. I was 15 years old.
Jeez.
It was kind of one of them back in the woods tracks, just to get some seat time. And from there on out, it's just been constantly on the road racing, between cars and bikes, because I also drive some bracket cars.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. I drive those too. And
Okay.
drove a dragster before. I've been 450s in it. If I'm the type of person, if you give me an opportunity to ride it, drive it, I'm gonna do it. I like to think as myself as a quick learner.
Right.
I've been blessed enough to be able to do a lot of things in a lot of different categories. But I started racing pro mod motorcycles at 17. Which made me the youngest person in the history of that class to ride something that fast,
Mm-hmm.
My first ever race, the first pass I ever made on the bike going that fast, I went 412 at 170. The next pass was 401, and then the third was the 398. My dad definitely enough time to, catch up on some stuff. He just threw a tune-up in there and told me to ride it to the best of my ability. So that's what I done.
Well, your father being a 4-time champion, Travis Davis obviously knows what he's doing, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But, and I feel certain, based on what you just said, he was probably holding back a little bit on tune-up. Because that bike's a nitrous bike, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but I can't imagine. I can't imagine the adapting that you do from that to pro stock motorcycle. I mean, I know there's similarities, but there has to be some obvious differences, correct?
Yes, sir. I mean, the main difference, like with our bike, we run a slider clutch, which requires a 2-step button compared to the hand clutch on the pro stockers. And, there is a big difference because our bikes, they have a big tire on them. They're real long, and you're making a ton of horsepower, so you really have to wrestle it going down the racetrack. I mean, it doesn't move easy, and compared to the pro stock motorcycles, they're the most acceleration you feel with them is within the first 10 to 15 feet, because throwing a clutch, it's just different. It has a harder launch to it.
Right.
And as you know, I mean, pro stock motorcycles are all motor, but they're very fast for what they are. And everything has its own challenge in riding it, but trying to apply that much power to a pro stock motorcycle on that small of a tire and it that short, and with all of the body work that goes on them, it requires a way different riding style. The bike doesn't correct the way I'm used to correcting a motorcycle. But it's not terrible. I mean, I felt like I've adjusted to it pretty quick. Still coming into the Gatornationals, I didn't even have 15 passes on a pro stock motorcycle. I think I had maybe 9 or 10. So there's a lot of guys out there that has a lot more seat time than me, but I feel confident in the White Alligator racing team. I know we'll get it figured out. And like I told my crew chief, Tim Kalungian, the more passes I get on it, the more comfortable I'm going to be and the smoother my movements will become. And once we get to that point, I really feel like we can be at the top with the rest of them.
Well, I know a couple of weeks before, y'all were actually out there testing all the motorcycles with War, and I actually got a couple of clips I'd like to share. And I always cut them off early, so I don't want anybody to get mad at me, because I never throw up anybody's time or mile per hour just in case they're trying to keep something secret. But here's what a couple of passes look like.
It is private testing anyway.
Right.
Right. It's private testing.
I don't throw none of that stuff out there for anybody.
They paid for that.
I write about it. It's talking about being respectful, and
Absolutely.
as long as you're respectful and do that for people will be okay with you, videoing. But here's 2 clips. And you see I clipped it off there, so it wouldn't record no time or mile per hour. But
you know what you mean, Brandon.
It just goes to show you how much torque those motorcycles actually have when they leave. I mean, you're picking up the front wheel, you're getting a little bit on the wheelie bar, and and you have to me, at that time, I may be wrong, I've never run a motorcycle before, but you have to be so quick when you let go of the clutch that you have to throw your body down. And the reason why you want to do that, because if you don't, it'll want to buck you off the backside. And I've actually seen some horror stories of people trying to get their pro stock motorcycle license out of Gainesville, and they look like they're riding a bull out there, to be honest, because they haven't quite got the experience that you probably have, starting out at a young age and running PDRA and working yourself up and getting in range of running faster, ETs. But, we want to ask you a tech tip real quick.
Please.
And what I see a lot of is you'll rock the bike back and you carry a little forward, and you rock the bike back and carry a little forward. It's not so much of getting in the group, correct? It's also about trying to get the bike straight up and down, side by side. So when the person's behind you, they're looking at your back, you're a solid straight line all the way to the rear tire, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we did get it right, Mitchell, because we were watching so many of the teams make just little increment adjustments with their rider, and the rider never would look back. They would just tell them and they would go forward. But I'm curious about some. Tell us more about is it the funny bike? I wanted to call it Pro Nitrous, but I don't think that was the correct term. What class did the other bike run in?
So our nitrous bike runs in Pro Extreme Motorcycle and PDRA.
Okay.
We have a turbo bike. They call them funny bikes, but they started calling the new name is Pro Extreme.
Okay. Okay.
They're actually able or allowed to run in PDRA with us. It's we've been trying to kind of get the parity right, just trying to figure out a few things because right now the turbos have a few hundreds on us, but we'll get it figured out.
So are you saying you have a turbo bike
We have a
to go with
turbo.
your nitrous bike?
Yeah, we have a turbo bike and a nitrous bike.
Chris, well, okay. Since primarily from what it sounds like, had nitrous bikes more. Tell us more about, or what you can tell us about it. As far as combinations and stuff like that.
So the nitrous bike is a 1855cc motor. We have, it's Suzuki GS, kind of, it's the same stuff as a Pro Stock motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
We run a max ECU on it. A lot of people have went fuel injected.
Right.
That's what everybody runs. Where we're still running carburetors. Me and Dad just didn't. When we went to the newer ECU, we knew we had carburetors that worked and they can make the same power, if not more, than EFI. And we've been 394 to 178. That was with a 980 260 and 258 330. So
I think it works.
yeah, it definitely works. But in our class we haven't really seen no advantage from carburetors. The EFI. EFI's been 93. Carburetors have been 93. There's no big difference there. But on our bike, our Pro Nitrous or Pro Extreme motorcycle, the nitrous bike, we weigh 625 with the rider. So we're actually lighter than Pro Stock motorcycle, which is crazy to me. Actually, it's pretty shocking.
I wouldn't expect it with the stretch chassis and all that, and the tire and stuff. I wouldn't expect it to be lighter. Honestly, I would have expected it to be a little bit, comparable or slightly heavier. But the fact that, what's the record in the class currently?
The record in the class is a 3. Well, it was actually by a turbo bike. See, this is where we get into the controversy yet. The turbo bike has been 391 in the class. The fastest nitrous bike was Paul Gast with a 393. So I guess you could say there's a record in two different, combinations there.
Right. But for the class, the turbo bike holds about 200s.
200.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about out the back? Are they comparable, or is the turbo got something out there?
Turbo is that's one thing I try to tell people. You will never outback half a turbo.
Right.
Where we're normally 135, 136 back halves at our best, turbos are 130. They're making a lot of ground. It's hard for them to manage their power down low through the first 60 feet. That's where we make all of our ground. But once we get about 200 foot out there, then we're playing in their sandbox.
I got you.
Right.
Doesn't work too well.
Okay, but the fact that you got both bikes now, that are they comparable? Are they equal in weight, or does the turbo have to weigh a little more?
The turbo has to weigh at PDRA. The nitrous bikes are 625. The turbo has to be 720 something, I believe, or 750.
Really?
Now, I can't say 100%, but I know they're at least anywhere from 700 to 740. I just can't remember the actual weight.
Right. Okay, that's definitely more than I was thinking. I was thinking it was going to be like a 25, 40 pound spread or something like that, but you're talking right at 100. And I'm like, gee whiz.
Fastest pass that's ever been made was a 387 at 190. It's,
Was
it's
that in testing or during competition?
that was during competition.
Okay. So there's your bar. But still, the fact that you said you're only right now a max of 500s behind, which I know we're talking 8th mile, which obviously that's a lot of ground to make up. But that sounds totally doable. What you're explaining, that you can get that back.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I mean, I got to see one of these things. I got to see it. I've watched some videos of you and stuff like that. I mean, this is the first time I've ever had a chance to talk to somebody that runs in those categories to tell us a little more about them. But I definitely got to see one of these things. But the fact that you said that, on the bike in 412, 40, and then 399, and you're one of the very first, if not the only one, that I believe that you doubled up in 2 classes of PDRA. You've
Yes,
doubled up in both juniors and on the bike. And I believe that was I don't know if that was the first weekend on the bike that time.
I had rode the bike in a 460 index the previous year, which is kind of 460 is about the fastest you can go unless you have a motorcycle capable of being competitive in pro mod. But
Gotcha.
the thing about pro mod, I mean, it's expensive. It's just the people I'm racing with is the same people that's done it from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people's dropped out of it to go to 460 because it's cheaper, and that's understandable. But growing up, watching my dad race in the class and do what he did, that was always my mindset. I was going to go until I couldn't anymore.
Right.
And,
Well, when I look at your history, even though you're still pretty young, you're getting close, what, 19?
yes, sir.
But looking at your experience, I kind of compare you with Gage Herrera because of where he came through the ranks to get to pro stock, and y'all have rode pretty much some of the same class motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I did see out of you at the Gatornationals was how calm that you were around some of the biggest stars in the NHRA. But a lot of people don't know that you have been in situations before where you have raced against world champions in PDRA and you have beat them. And actually, you beat one of them on Father's Day and handed your dad a victory, which was really neat. And I think you ran against Gardner Jones in that final.
Yeah, that was me and Chris Gardner Jones. I mean, my family and his family, we go way back. I mean, they've known me since I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And, to be racing against him, I mean, it just shows how quick time flies. I mean, it's unbelievable. But I mean, I consider him my own brother. I mean, that's how Chris is. He's a great rider. He's one of the best. When you have to race him, you got to give it your all. Whether it blows up or not, you got to give it your all. And, every time me and him race, we're always within 100ths apart, whether it's in the final round or first round.
Nice.
We both shoot it to it when we have to race each other.
Well, I know you can cut some really good trees because I think that particular final against him, you went 016 on your light.
Yeah, that's one thing about me, and Dad has tried to over the years taught me down from it. He's like, hey, kind of relax on the tree, 20s, 30s. And, 20s and 30s are good. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'll bring the best out of myself because you may have that one person where you relax on the tree and you're 30 and you lose. It's drag racing. You never know. So I go up there and I hit it as hard as I can every time. And sometimes I pay the consequences. But, hey, there's always another race.
That's right. And you can't beat yourself up about it because, it's true. If you don't go red every once in a while, you're not trying hard enough. That's what they say. And Robert's been there. I've been there. And a lot of other people that's going to watch.
Last race I was there. I don't want to hear it, man. The last race I was there. Had him on ET, man, and I kicked it red by a couple numbers, and I'm like, oh, But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
But
Go ahead, Mitchell.
yeah, it happens. So, all of us know it. It's very competitive out there, and especially when you get in the levels at where you're at right now and racing pro stock. I guarantee you, Gatornationals and Matt Smith, they was not very relaxed on that tree in that final. They were both up on the bars, getting ready to shoot down the track. And I tell you, man, that was one heck of a battle between them two that came down there at the stripes. I mean, they almost ran identical ETs. I think they were Smith was off by what, 1/100th. I think that's what it was
1,000.
yeah, 1,000. Yeah,
1,000
off
ET,
by
but he
1,000.
was.
Yeah,
I think he was 2 behind on the tree, but he had 1.5 on the other end, mile an hour wise, which booming. And
they
during
went 203.
their first qualifying pass when they lined up together, it was just like you said, Brandon. It was tight. That was worth price of admission just seeing that. So everything you said is absolutely right. You're up on it each and every time.
And not really talk about too much about the situation in the final, but I tell you what, that was some great sportsmanship by Gatornationals. Matt waving over to him and say, "Hey, I've got a problem." He just sat back and just waited. They had to take the body off the bike, fix something electronic, and put the body and snap it all back on. And I was really surprised. I guess Matt has been doing it long enough, and you probably have too. Things like that just don't shake you up. You just take a deep breath, relax, get back in there, and get up on the tree.
Yeah, I remember in 2023 when I won the championship in Pro Junior Dragster at PDRA, and that was the same year I doubled up and was in the fight for a championship with the bike. Coming to the World Finals at Virginia Motorsports Park. First round, we burnt the strap off the spark plug in the number 1 cylinder, and that's very unusual. We never do that, and it was having a few glitches during the run. So second pat, when we got back after Q1, we put another motor in it. We run it, then we pushed the head gasket out. So worked all night getting the other motor that we tore up first put back in for first round, and went up there, and then we burned a hole in the number 1 piston.
Oh,
wow.
So I managed to win on a hole shot first round. And then second round, I had to run Paul Gast. And we literally took parts out of different motors to make one motor. And I went up there and I had to, because me and Chris would have had to lose that round, and I would have had to go to the next round and win the race. And I run, and it pushed the head gasket out again, and I lost. And behind me, Chris had double buttoned the 2-step, and he lost. So it was, it's situations like that that's very unfortunate. I really felt like if it would have been like any other weekend how we're running, I would have had a really good shot at it. But it just wasn't my year. But all that has done since then has really made me push harder and want that much more. So I think this year I got my mindset pretty heavy on it, and we're going to chase after it.
I like it.
So how many races are you planning on trying to run this year in NHRA?
Right now, we're still working with some marketing partners. As of right now, I know I'm going to make the Virginia race, or that's the plan. Possibly talking about the Western Swing. I really don't want to run over the amount of races they limit you to before Rookie of the Year,
Right.
Yes.
I rather just run to that limit and hopefully get out there enough and perform well and meet some people, and then work through the off season on marketing partners and, getting the bike faster and give it a shot next year. But, time will tell. I can't honestly say right now because I'm not 100% positive. But more than likely we may be running, 3 more, 4 more possibly.
Okay.
Now, you had some friends of yours that actually jumped on board and helped you out at the Gatornationals, Powertrain Incorporated. So how did that kind of work about to get
So,
some decals on that motorcycle?
Terry and Angela Durrance out of Claxton, Georgia. Once again, they are like family too. They had known my mom and dad from the racetrack before I was even born, and that, like I said, they've known me since I was little. I mean, they're pretty much like my other parents.
Mhm.
That's what they are to me. And when I talk to them about this deal, because it's so hard to find marketing partners to keep this program running, and it's everybody's dream to get out there in the NHRA. That's the big league. And we went to them and talked to them, and they was on board saying they want to do whatever they can to help me out. And it's a blessing. Like, I'm very, very thankful for them, because without them, who's to say I wouldn't even be in the position I am now with the war team.
Right.
And it's a blessing. It really is.
Well, that's good. That's good. I see McCarthy on your shirt.
Yeah.
Bugs and all them. You know the whole family.
Party Auto Parts. They live
Yep.
about 40 minutes from me. I kind of grew up with them. Where as I was growing up, I used to go spend the weekends with them. And
Really? I tell you, there's some great people, and they are some big backers of supporters of sportsman racing, bracket racing, and top bulb and bottom bulb stuff too. So I'm glad to see you wearing this shirt, because there's some really great people.
Yeah,
I've only met them a couple times, and it's been in the past, but they've been super nice to everybody I've seen.
he actually sponsors us on our pro mod bike.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Sure.
That's a good move. They need to also assist on the pro stock. Just saying. There's plenty of room, and they're good people. And what would be really cool is have their wagon out there at your trailer.
Yeah.
And Mitchell, if you haven't seen their wagon, man, it is unreal. It's beautiful.
Powertrain, Terry and Angela actually come on board with our bike this year also. So I want to give a shout out to them. It's just unbelievable, the support that we're getting. I couldn't do it without them.
Absolutely.
So how did you like the scene at the Gatornationals, being a pro rider, fans coming by and seeing you, wanting your autograph, and the kids looking up to you? How did that feel for you?
Before going there, or before we even really got into pro stock, when I first tested, I told Tim Kalungian, I said, a lot of people want to go out there and do it, and want to do it for themselves, because that's something they've always wanted to do. And kind of my mindset going into it was, I remember being that little kid watching TV, or, walking through the pits, like, man, I really look up to these people. And, with me being as young as I am, I just want to be an inspiration to kids that anything's possible. You can do whatever you put your mind to.
Mhm.
And that's the main reason I'm doing this, is because I want to inspire people to come do it, and just show them it doesn't matter how young or old you are. You can do it, and but I had fun at the Gators. It was definitely a new experience, with all the people and everything, the media and everything that's going on. I'm so used to when we go racing, we're kind of cooped up in our trailer working and going over tune-ups, because at PDRA there's spectators, but nothing compared to that.
Right.
Just being able to interact with the fans, and just not even talk about racing, just talk about life. You never know what you could possibly help them with. Just talking to them could have made their whole week. You just never know, and that's the way I look at things. It's just talk to them, just go up there and start a conversation, and I really enjoyed it. It was fun.
That's some wisdom right there, sir. That's some wisdom. Thank you. Like hearing that. Go ahead, Mitchell. I'm sorry. It's really good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, I still wouldn't mind jumping on a bike and racing it. Some people think I'm crazy, but you know,
I'm for one.
I've
Your
always
wife,
thought
your wife is number two.
I've always thought it'd be, really neat and stuff. And I've been friends with George Bryce for years. And, when he was running the class out at Gainesville, I should have took that opportunity and went through the class. And go ahead and let people know it's not easy to get your license driving one of these pro stock bikes.
Oh no,
it has actually taken people 3-4 times to develop the skill to get licensed. So it's not like sitting in a door car and going down the track. There's a lot of things to learn. And one of those things you hit on was how you steer the bike. You just don't drop over to try to make it go one way or the other because it's so close to the ground. You'll bottom it out, and possibility of flipping. Gianna, when she was coming up and learning, riding a pro stock motorcycle, she got herself in a situation and she got thrown off and almost got hit in the head with the wheelie bars. Thank goodness that, her injuries were very minor, but she is at a point now where her skill set is very developed. And I got to, a lot of that's due to Matt Smith taking her up underneath his wing and help teach her the right way of doing it. And one thing that he did, he stepped the bike back, not to let it go as fast as it could go, let her build momentum up and get comfortable. And now she has all the, what's the word I'm trying to look for?
Well, she has all
the respect for the motorcycle, and she's built her self-confidence up. And I mean, she's a totally different rider now than what she was, a few years back. And so it's very difficult.
Oh, we got nothing but respect for what you and other riders do. Absolutely. I got to ask you some questions that I've never had a chance to ask a pro stock motorcycle racer. Okay. Serious. And it's basic, so please bear with me. Okay. What gear do you do a burnout in?
Third.
Okay. So you start in third. Now, before you fire it up, do you put the bike in third, or is that something only after you fire it up? Because I see all the time you're checking not you personally, checking the foot, 1 up, 2 down, or 1 down, 3. I'm constantly seeing that checking from riders. So
when we roll up to the water box, and we always roll around it, get in front of it, then roll back. When I roll in front of it, Tim Kalungian will be standing there and he'll tell me how far to go back. And then once I get in the water, then I put it in third, pull the clutch back in, roll up.
Okay, now they fire it in the water too, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you pull it forward, back it in the water, check your gear, then they fire. Okay. I'm sorry. Continue. I'm just, like I said, I'm serious. I mean, everybody sees these things happening, but I've never had a chance to actually ask a rider how they do it. I mean, so clearly you got an ignition switch, you're on, clutch in, they fire, and you're only allowed, was it 2 fires per run? Is that the old rule?
To be honest with you, I'm not familiar with the rules since I'm new.
Okay.
I keep going until the team tells me to stop. So.
Okay. Now, on your nitrous bike, do y'all have a certain rule? It's just time,
whenever.
basically on the time. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, you get put on I think it's a 2-minute time clock.
Oh, if you have a problem. Right. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Now, what kind of eighth of miles between your nitrous bike and a pro stock bike? How do they compare?
So from a pro stock bike, we're normally running, low to mid 430s at 163, 164. Now, if you go high 420s, then you're going really. with our bike, we're going 390s pretty regular at 100.
That's the part I was chuckling about in my mind. As soon as you said that, I'm like, you rolled out at 16 years old, let the clutch out and run a 420 something, or I think you said, or no, 412, letting the clutch. So you were already going quicker than a pro stock bike in
Yeah.
the 8th mile.
They're different, and like I tell people, people come up to me and ask me, they're like, well, pro stock's not as quick. I'm like, I understand that, but they make a lot of horsepower for what they are. Being on motor like that and applying that much power to that small of a tire, I mean, you have to pay close attention to your tune-ups, because whether the track changes a little bit or the weather changes a little bit, I mean, your bike's liable to go out there and blow the tire off or dead hook. And in my case, first round at Gatornationals, we missed it. We dead hooked off the starting line, and I mean, it's part of it. It's racing. I just wanted to go up there and be good on the tree, and I was happy with that.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, and now I take it the pro stock bikes, the shift points come up quicker than the nitrous bikes.
The nitrous bikes we shift at anywhere from 11.5 to 12,000. Our 1-2 when we shift into second, it's at 0.8 in the run, so it's less than a second. Near about when you let go of the 2-step button, punch the shifter button.
Gotcha.
Pro stock motorcycles we rev anywhere, close to 14,000.
Okay.
So the 1-2 shift on those are on out a little bit just because you don't have nitrous making the engine just.
Oh, I would have thought it would have been opposite. So I'm assuming the pro stock bike, like the first couple times you let it out, you're probably short shifting.
Yeah.
Compared to your nitrous bike. Wow, I would imagine just polar opposite, thinking it would have been the opposite.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's interesting.
And another thing that took me a while to learn, or not real long, but just the sound difference. When you go from 11,500 RPMs to 13,500, it sounds like it's going to sling the crank out of it down there.
Right.
The vibration, the sound, and it did scare me a couple of times because I'm like, man, I know I ain't seen the shift light, it ain't coming. Could have been 2,000 RPMs better.
Right.
But it just takes learning. And like first round when I run Angie, she run a great number, had a great pass. And when I never realized how loud the Buells really were when you're running against them. And I noticed a lot of the riders wearing earplugs.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, I didn't have earplugs anyway. I said, I'll just, I'll wing it. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And when I threw the clutch first round, I knew I was good on the tree. And when I felt it bog, it was kind of like a kick in the gut. It's like, oh man, I lost all my momentum right here. Because the wheels are they back half so hard. And I always wear blinders on my shield. And that weekend I didn't. And when I caught a glimpse of her driving in front of me, and then the sound was so loud, I actually could not focus on my motorcycle. I couldn't hear mine like I wanted to, and I started going off her shift points. I wasn't even waiting on the light. It's just a distraction. But when I got back, I told the team, I said, I will be better prepared for the next one. I'll have me some earplugs, and I'll have my blinders on my shield. But it's a lesson learned. I mean, part of it.
So, who actually helped you throughout the transition of getting your license? Because I know that it wasn't just at Gainesville that you were out getting runs, but y'all did some. Was it out west?
Or is it Darlington?
We went to Virginia.
Maybe it's Virginia.
First. Yeah, so the story behind all this was in 2023 at the PRI show in Indy. I had always known Chase Van Sant. We raced at the motorcycle organizations together, and his dad and my dad actually raced against each other back in the day a lot, or may not have raced against one another, but they knew one another.
Right, right.
And Chase had texted me on Snapchat. He had said, "Hey man, I want you to swing by the Trick Tools booth and meet Tim Kalungian." I said, I'm jumping up and down in the hotel room, like getting my hopes up. We went down there and we talked, and Tim asked me if I was ever interested in riding one, and I said, yeah. I said, but I just, I don't, me personally, I don't have the funding to be able to do it, because of everything we have in race. And I gotta give him a shout out. I mean, he's helped us. He's shown us a lot of things. He told me in the beginning that he sees something in me that I never about don't even see in myself. That I have potential in the class. And like me and him talked after this past weekend, and he's like, man, once we get this bike figured out, he said, I feel like we can be a contender. You're going to be one of the best riders out there. And I don't feel that way. I don't brag about myself. I don't talk trash. I go out there and I run my race, and that's just the way I was raised around it.
Agreed. I like that. That's like I said, that's wisdom right there. You're there to race, so you just do it, and that's great.
Well,
look, go ahead, Mitchell.
Don't laugh. But I was walking around out in the pits, and I was talking to some people. I was talking about you, and I said, you know what, that young gentleman right there, it may end up being Gage Herrera's kryptonite, because I said,
Yeah.
He's very poised. He talks really well. Very good if he's trying to market a product. And I was like, he's not scared. He's not scared at all about the competition that's around him. Right. It doesn't bother him. These big names doesn't bother him. He's only focused on himself. And that's what you have to do. You have to focus on yourself and what's going on in your lane, and let all the chips fall when you pass the traps at the top end of the track.
And I actually, when Gage first started riding for Vance and Hines, he has such a unique riding style. Or I wouldn't say unique, but it's different from what the rest of the class does. And I mean, if anyone asks my dad, he'll tell you the same thing. Ever since I was little, all I do in my free time is watch racing videos, not of cars, the bikes. And I'm looking at everybody's riding style, their routine on the start line, any way I can, get in your head or get ahead of you. And I've learned some things from Gage just by watching. And, I didn't do the best. I mean, I done a good job riding when you were there in Gainesville while we were doing the private test session. I wasn't riding like I normally did in Virginia. I went back and studied some video and watched a few passes of Gage, and I used that at the Gatornationals, and I could tell a very big difference with it, and it actually was helping the motorcycle down low also.
Oh, so really? Oh.
I think where I could tell there was a difference with it. Just everything felt. It may have not have showed it on the download, but it just, I don't know. I don't know how
you could tell it.
I could feel for 60 foot with it.
Yeah.
Well, and Gage is very disciplined. I mean, he is very disciplined. I mean, he does not make crazy moves as he's going down the track. He's very particular and makes very small, acute adjustments as he's going down. And I mean, he looks like he's part of the bike, and like you said, you watch some of the videos, you try to mimic, and you were feeling the difference in your riding style and how the bike was handling it as well. And I mean, if you take a look at Gage. You can even take a look at Matt when they're going down. I mean, they're just, like I said, they're just sitting right over that tank, just as straight as an arrow.
And they like the difference with them compared to the bike I'm riding is they have so many passes. They just everything is. Everybody says something can't be perfect, but that is as perfect as you're going to get out of it. Every time it leaves start line, it goes straight. I don't never see him make a correction, and that's what you want. Obviously. The thing with the bike I'm riding, it hasn't been out in 2 years until the private test session at the Gators. So there's a lot of different things, different airbox, different parts. They're making more power than they did 2 years ago.
Right.
So, and I had never rode with the Gen 2 body style. I had previously at Virginia, I was on the TL. I like the Gen 2. It's more comfortable to me. TL just kind of, which is good too. It's just it kind of makes me feel like I'm in a real tight space. I can't do what I need to do to correct the motorcycle as quickly and flushly like that.
Does the body make you kind of feel like between the tank and the seat, it's smaller, a smaller space to sit?
The TL is about the smallest space you can get in between your stomach and the tank when you're all the way back in the secondary. The Gen 2, I actually stay in the primary part of the seat just because as small as I am, I can get tucked.
Right.
All that really needs to be, because I told Tim Kalungian, I said, I don't feel no wind, hitting my head, hitting my shoulders, any of that. And I actually got into the second part of the seat in Q2, and I kind of could feel a little bit of wind. Not a lot, but I could just feel it hazing me on the edge right there.
Right.
And, it just takes time, doing certain stuff, you learn what not to do. But that was a lesson learned, and I know what to do different next time.
Well, I think you've done a great job. And, like you said, you have to go through the motions, and you have to figure out what's going to work for you and what isn't going to work for you. And you have to check off those boxes.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
I wonder how many of the riders can adapt to a nitrous bike quickly. I know they can all ride it. Okay, and I would say Gage, give him a couple runs, he'd be right back in it.
I think,
right. I think it'd be an interesting thing. I'd like to see Matt Smith, Angie Smith, Steve Johnson. I'd like to see them all get on a different style bike like what you've ridden.
And Richard, my buddy Richard Gatson, he raced them. The other pro mod bike I ride was one he originally rode. He actually tunes it, or he doesn't tune it, but he used to. That was a few years ago. And, it's just, I really feel like, yeah, it depends. The pro stock bikes ain't easy to ride, and the pro mod bikes ain't easy to ride. But I definitely feel like it would take more than a couple passes for them to adjust to the speed, the sound, and how quickly you have to shift them.
Good point. Good point.
It's a different riding style. There's no doubt. I feel like they could have it down in 4 or 5 passes. With a good, like our motorcycle that goes straight, doesn't really act too crazy until we get on a bad track. Then it's rolling over down there at 180 mile an hour. That's when it doesn't get fun.
Right.
I can only imagine. Tell me, on the pro stock bikes, do y'all move weight around much, if at all, for rider comfort?
We not so much for, well, actually, me and Chris Garner-Jones are about the only people in the class that have weight on our bikes, because everybody else with their body weight matches, the weight. So really, as what we use it for, as you know, most of the pro stock people, they're all about weight on the front because they want to get that front wheel down as quickly as they can to be aerodynamic. You know, with us, we put it all down below the axle. We put some in the front and a good bit back there where the nitrous bottle is on the back by the back tire. Because we're trying to stay hooked just as much as we can because we're pushing so much horsepower. And that's a lot of the reason our team has a lot of 990 and 980 60 foots because we have all that weight down low. My dad was riding. He didn't have any weight on the bike. He was 620 or 630, and he usually hung around one flat, 101.60. He would get a 990 something every once in a while, but with it right now, with me riding, once we get that 990 out of it, it goes 990 every time. At Maryland, we were all 4 rounds of eliminations in 2023. We were from 990 to 996 every pass.
That's just mind numbing. And you're like going, oh, you just, do this. It's just mind numbing. And it's like, oh, Dad, he had a couple, one flats, and, you're acting like it's a big gap, and it's not. It's still just earth rotating. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So when is y'all's first race on the bikes in PDRA? Because I know they don't race the motorcycles at every event, correct?
No, sir, they don't. They won't have us at the season opener at Galot. But the second race they'll have us at Virginia. I can't remember the exact date on it. And I think from there I know we're running Virginia, Norwalk, Maryland, Galot, Drag Wars, and then PDRA World Finals in Virginia. So 5. They have a schedule for 5 this year.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of like the NHRA. The pro stock motorcycles don't travel everywhere, so it's kind of a little bit of similarities there.
Yeah, it's just it's hard for a lot of the motorcycle people to take off work and stuff because we all come together as a class and make these decisions, and like they go to Michigan this year. I'm all the way down here in Georgia.
Right.
That's a long haul just for a motorcycle. They go race for $3,000 or $3,500. You'll spend that going up there and about it, getting everything ready. And it's just it's not worth it. We rather kind of stay on the East Coast, our same old travel route, and it just whatever it takes to get the most bikes to show up. Because if we go to Michigan, there's not going to hardly be anybody there, and I don't like racing for free. I want to earn it. I don't what I got to do. I want to earn it.
Right. Well, I've never been to a PDRA race, and it's one of the things I want to do on my bucket list. Actually, I want to go to a few of them and try to cover them. Take pictures, interviews with the drivers as well, and try to promote it on our page because it is a really good series. And of course, our marketing partner, Redline Oil, is also the sponsor of PDRA.
Yep, absolutely. And you're right. That's something Mitchell and I have talked about. There's several events of different associations we want to go to. PDRA is a big one that we want to we want to absolutely go see and see you. But I tell you, how can people get a hold of you, Brandon? Because people need to get involved with this team, not only on the PDRA side. Sorry about that. But also, boy, I outran my tongue there. But also on the NHRA Pro Stock motorcycle side. Because like you said, you're working your way up to make a run to the Rookie of the Year status on Pro Stock bikes. So how can people get a hold of you?
I actually have a motorsports page on Facebook. It's Brayden Davis Motorsports. I post all my racing on there. I don't have anything separated. It's pro stock, pro mod bike, my bracket racing stuff. It's all of it. You get the gist of everything. Because I want people when they go looking for it and they find it, I want them not to just see the NHRA side of me. I want them to be able to see all of it. You know,
Right.
it's not just, this isn't the only organization in drag racing. You know, there's a lot of other things that you can do, as if, you know, they feel like they don't have a possibility of making it to NHRA when they want to race. Well, then they have the choices to go bracket racing. You know, I'm all about, you know, whatever it takes to get people interested in any kind of racing. You know, because drag racing is such an incredible sport, and there's not many young guys like me that's really coming, well, on the motorcycle side of things. I'm really the only new young gun, you know, and it sucks because I feel like, you know, as people, the other ones keep getting old. Well, I'm gonna get older too, obviously, but older than me quicker. You know, I'm not gonna have nobody to race. You know, it's gonna downfall very quickly, and you know, I want to inspire people to really get into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great sport. You become family with others, and of course, all the family goes out the window when you stage the bike. But after you go through the traps, you're family again, you know. And you know, it's a sport where everybody tries to help out one another. No one don't want to go up there and have a single pass to win. They want to be competitive uh, all the way through all the rounds. And you know, and you're right. You know, we look around. People are getting older in the class, especially over in NHRA. But you know, we have you coming along. We have Chase Van Sant, um,
And we know
Kelly
of a couple.
Klotz. I mean,
We have a couple.
she's new in Gianna.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's starting to pick up a little bit.
And you know, I mean, also, I mean, Richard, and then my buddy Brandon Litton that come in. I mean, he's another tough young. I mean, he's like me. You know, he adapted very quickly. He got on some fast motorcycles quickly, and you know, I'm happy to see him out there. He's really a good rider, and you know, I know when me and him have to race one day, it's gonna be a battle. You know,
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
be really good.
Y'all gonna have a friendly wager on the starting line. I'm sure of that. You
I'll
know what
just
I mean?
to tell him I'm not going in first. I'll sit there all
Oh,
day.
it's like that, huh? Oh, I like those.
uh,
I like it. It's like nothing personal. It's just it is what it is. I'm a firm believer. If you're gonna have a burn down, it's between the drivers. As long as it's safe, go take a seat. They run them out of fuel. It's their business. You know what I mean? I'm serious. Now I know nitro. If they run them lean and stuff like that, you can have a whale of a cleanup time. I get that, but pro stock bikes, etc. I say it's on the driver, and you know, but that's just me. I know that for getting the show on the road, that doesn't always work, but it's what it is, man. It's part of racing. But I think pro stock motorcycle has a really bright future because I'm sure there's some other riders that'll be coming out in another year or two, you know, aging up, coming up from whether the bracket ranks or something like that, or other forms of motorsports. So I can definitely see it, the future looking really good, and you're going to do nothing but just progress. I mean, very, very quickly. So does your father also ride a bike at the same time, or is he just mainly
He
cruising
just
with you?
he just builds the motors and tunes it and gets me to the races. That's he
That's
just
his main objective now.
he's
I,
the crew chief.
I've always told him, you know, I mean, it bothers me pretty bad not seeing him ride anymore. You know, every once in a while we'll bring the turbo bike out to the motorcycle races and he'll ride it. And, you know, he always tells me, he's like, I'd rather just be standing behind you, lining you up, you know, getting the bike to the next level, see how
Right.
fast I get it to go. But there's times where I miss starting him up and lining him up. You know, it's just, you know, he's a legend in my book. And I don't say that just because he's my dad. I say that because of his stats in his career. I
A
mean,
lot of great accomplishments.
Yeah, boy, that is an understatement. Now, how many times have you run your father?
I've never run him. That's what I'm
You know
trying
what?
to do.
Same here. I've never run my father, and I've always wanted to just to say I ran with my dad. And the one time we had a chance to line up and pair, he kicked a rod out. He kicked a rod. He kicked a rod out in the last qualifying run, and how we paired after that run, we found out we were paired first round, so we would have actually been a chance to run each other. And I mean, to me, that was the most crushing thing. Period. And him too. Is I literally, and of course, he'll flat tell me I'm going to whip your butt, which I would expect nothing less. But what I'm saying is, I really miss and wish that opportunity would have come up. So I can totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Harvey said he is one of the best.
Yeah.
I told my dad, I was like, I said, I'll make a wager. I said, I'll bet I'll get you on the lot, but I won't guarantee me outrunning you because he's tuning my bike. That one isn't going to work out too well for me.
Well, you might say, "Well, I was experimenting on yours, to see what it would do." You know what I mean? Or tell you just to hold on, boys. Something might happen here midway. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I can see that. That's being good. I mean, shoot, line up some pit bikes. I know y'all have. You know what I mean? Just to do it.
yeah. I've tried to get him to, come back out and kind of run, and he may actually race a little bit at PDRA this year with another bike, one of our buddies. He stays on the road traveling a lot, and he offered it to us that, hey, take it out and try and get it running good if you feel like it. And I hope he does. I miss seeing him riding. I've when I tell you I've learned everything I know from him. I mean everything. He's taught even the pro stock stuff. He's never rode a pro stock motorcycle, but he has taught me some stuff about my riding skills with it that has helped tremendously. And it shocks me because he's never even rode one. How would he know? He's like, I'm just like him. We both pick up on stuff from watching videos and just, seeing what they do. And it's pretty cool.
Also, he knows you so well. You know what I mean? So he basically what you're thinking, he is thinking. So, and when he sees it, he can relate immediately with you. So yeah, that's a good team. That is a good team. But I'm sorry about this, getting emotional. No, but really, I tell you what, we look forward. Hopefully, Mitchell, is it on our schedule that we could possibly get to a PDR race this year? If not, I think it's next year.
I think the closest would be probably Virginia.
I just don't know if the time schedule. Anyway, we'll work that part out because we do want to go to a PDR race, and we would like, and we're going to follow you, Brendan, for the rest of the season. And I tell you, and like we encourage everybody to follow Brendan, to follow his racing, and to get involved with them on a marketing stance. I mean, Powertrain Incorporated, McCarthy Auto Parts, and others. Okay, is a great addition. But yes, Dean, we're definitely learning that. definitely learning that. but you're working with great people, and you're working in the farming business too. I mean, you've got your hands full. You're working all the time with you and your family. So tell you, we look forward to following you.
Hey, and that might be in somewhere with the type of equipment that you're using. Maybe they can come on as a sponsor.
Now you're
You
talking.
got Anthony Troyer, they're farmers down here in Florida, and they actually used Fendt tractors on their farm, and it was a great match for them to come on board with him and top alcohol dragster.
Yeah, I started. I haven't done it yet, but I almost started to start calling and emailing John Deere.
There you go.
I almost wanted to really do that, and I'll probably end up doing it sometime. It never hurts to try. You'll never know
Absolutely.
this until you shoot your shot. So,
Absolutely.
Jennifer
Absolutely.
says congratulations.
Jennifer's clearly follows you on a regular basis.
oh, yeah.
But absolutely, there's so many avenues for you to approach with marketing partners or marketing partners to approach with you. That's great. I mean, we're going to be talking to you again next year when you're running for rookie of the year. So we're definitely, and also we're going to talk to you again after you've won the PDRA championship. You know what I mean? Again, so we definitely want you to come back, and and then that time just kind of like hold up trophies, like I'm not saying I told you so, but and and setting a new record too. The whole thing.
Yeah.
And we do follow PDRA because I list the results after the races. I get them listed and put them on our page so people can see, who's winning and in those classes and stuff. So it's definitely closely monitored by myself and Robert.
Mm-hmm.
But we're looking forward to you having a bright future in this sport, PDRA wise or NHRA or
Both.
maybe both.
I was going to say anything drag racing with two wheel. Who am I kidding? Four wheels. Just anything drag racing. We want you to keep us in the loop as far as what event you're going to. Post it, share it. We'll share it too. If you're involved with any other races or promotions, or whenever you get those next marketing partners, please let us know, because we'll definitely want to share the word and put the word out. And yeah, I enjoy talking to you, to listen, to learn about even the technical side. Just like you said, the nuances on the riding style. I mean, I've never ridden a bike like that, but I could sure appreciate it. And the fact that you feel the wind, and feel the wind sounds ridiculous since you're on a bike, but I've heard people say you can see it, and not visually, but they're talking about you sense it with the body, so, or with your physical body, so you know what you're needing or what you got to do compensate. So I like hearing those things. I'm sure people that are listening to this like to hear that too. And but sorry, man, I could go on. I don't mean to do that, but
most people, don't really understand how you correct a motorcycle.
Right.
And the way I've always done it is I kind of shift in the seat a little bit. I don't really try to move my shoulders or anything top half of my body. I just work my hips and I put pressure on the pegs. So if it's driving right, I'll just push on the left peg and you'll feel it kind of glide a little bit. But, you don't ever want to just snatch it over, because if you snatch it over, you're going to have a bad day. And if you get away with it, then you don't need to do it again.
I got you. That totally makes sense. Well, here's a question that I would like to know. When you're all locked in and tucked in, is your head back where you can actually see out the front, or is your head down to where actually you're just looking off one side of the bike and you pick up your peripheral to keep you centered?
I keep my head kind of level to where I'm looking through the front fare. And a lot of people in the pro stock bike pits and stuff always talk about put your chin on the tank.
Right. I've heard that phrase. Yeah.
I tried that down there, and when I did, it felt like bees were in my helmet.
It's shaking that much.
But like, if your ears ever kind of get like a weird vibration or whatever you're doing, and it just has that itchy feeling, that's what it feels like. And the last thing you're going to do is, take your hand off at 190 and be like, hey, let me get this. Just part, but yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, so the vibration come up through your chin and just start getting to you.
Yeah, so when I do that, I got my chin off the tank. I ain't put it back since. I don't plan on it either.
Well, you see, you just answered my question, because I've heard that phrase, but I didn't take it as literal. You know what I mean? But I took it as kind of a down facing versus slightly rocked and looking up through your eyelids kind of thing.
And I really didn't even think. I mean, I wasn't trying to put my chin on the tank. I was just trying to get it as low as I could.
Right.
When I got it that low, it had bumped it a little bit, and I felt that. So I just kind of hold my head up a little, not too high. I'm still tucked,
Right.
but it's
Where you're
just
comfortable. You're comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You just confirmed something. Thank you.
Harvey wanted to know, what is it like running against the Buells with them being so loud next to you?
Earplugs.
is a good comparison would be if you were if you were on a electric bicycle and you were racing a Harley Davidson. That's what it's like to me. I mean, honestly,
Goodness sakes.
when she went, I mean, it's different for everybody. You could talk to Gage and he may not say that, but me, it's just I couldn't focus on my own thing. I couldn't focus on my own bike, and because that was the first time I had heard them. Well, it didn't help that I was behind. That's
Right.
not the place to be. But yeah, when I heard it, it threw me off, and I knew, I didn't have a chance right then unless something went wrong with her bike. But once we got the 8th mile and I seen she was out there, I was just along for the ride. Then just taking it in the moment, I'm grateful for it, and we didn't perform the way we would have liked. But without a doubt, I know once we get some more passes, we'll definitely be competitive. It takes time. Like I said, the bike ain't been out in 2 years, and it's just we'll figure it out.
Yes, you will.
Yes, you will. Absolutely.
You got a great team behind you. All the people that is around you, like Chase. He knows how to win.
War knows how to win. Your father knows how to win.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You have a team around you. You have a great team around you, I might add. But I tell you what, Brandon, we appreciate you coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason we were starting later than scheduled is because Brandon, he was working. Okay, he was on the tracker. So he had to get done with work before he could come over and talk to us. So we appreciate everybody coming on here a little later with us. But Brandon, we appreciate you taking time out of your crazy busy schedule and coming here and talking to us and sharing with us your most recent experience at the Gatornationals, first time at a national event on Pro Stock Motorcycle. And we're proud of you and wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah,
you and your family.
The future is bright. For
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. And everybody go ahead.
No, I appreciate y'all for having me on tonight. It means a lot, just sitting here having a conversation, talking about racing. I mean, that's all I've ever done anyways, talk about racing. And, thank y'all for what y'all do for the sport, getting people out there and, covering stuff. I mean, y'all are the kind of people we need more of in the racing community.
Right.
Whether you're, a small or big, whatever it is, as long as it's getting covered and getting people out there, eventually people take interest in it.
Right.
And that's what we need. But I appreciate y'all very much for having me on and taking time to talk to me. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you at one of the PDRA races.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
We thank you.
And thank you for the kind words.
Yeah.
Y'all more than welcome to, if y'all get hot or whatever at the PDRA race, come hang out at the pit. We got water and sandwiches.
Oh yeah, you'll see me, man. I'll be dragging.
Virginia's always a hot one during that.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
I thought I was dragging Robert all over the place on Friday.
Don't give me that. I was dragging you, man. I was dragging you. We walked to give you a highlight, Brandon. We know we were parked, but we were walking out in the back 40 going to the sportsman pits. Okay, and we started walking out to the circle track because we started talking to some others and interviewing some others and stuff. So we're out there. It's pitch black, and at night we got flashlights on, so golf carts wouldn't run over us. As we're going over to meet and talk with other people. And Yeah, don't give me that, Mitchell.
Hey, we got some Louisiana catfish.
Oh, the Hidalgos. If I'll introduce you if you haven't met them, Country Dog and the family, which
And hope
we
they
have
got
coming on
catfish.
next month. But oh man, that catfish was unreal good. Oh man, I could talk about that. And Brandon, I don't know, you like catfish?
Oh yeah.
Okay, they had some of the freshest fried catfish I've ever had in my life, and I love catfish. And I mean, oh my goodness. And it had been out a while. They were closing up shop, getting ready to put it away. I'll grab you a couple pieces. Oh, dude, it was good. Me and
And it
Mitchell
had
didn't
the
talk for
right
a couple
amount of
minutes.
zing to it.
We didn't talk to each other for a couple minutes, man. We're just sitting there just hanging on to the plate, wouldn't let anybody near us. Gee whiz, man. Yeah, you got me talking. You got me thinking about it again, Mitchell. Thanks. So but really, Brandon, we do appreciate you you taking the time and coming to talk to us, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon, and we look forward to your next win.
Okay, thank y'all.
Thank
you
you.
very much, Brandon. Hope you have a great day. Have a good night, buddy. All right, take care, bud. Bye. Oh man,
What a Brayden Davis, what a bright young star that we have right there that's going to be coming up through the ranks. He is going to do extremely well, and hoping that he's able to find some marketing partners and get things lined up for 2026, because he's got a future. He definitely has a future. Started riding, bikes at 16 years of age. Just
well, he was riding before that, but that's before he got
yes.
racing. You know what I mean? I tell you, Mitchell, and I know you're right. I am absolutely blown away at his maturity, and not only his experience, but just how he handles himself, both on and off. And I think it's great. And like you say, I think the future is super bright for him and his racing on both the PDRA and the Pro Stock. So
we're seeing a lot of younger people come into the sport with a lot of maturity. We had Serena Wildgust on, and she was very remarkable, and the way she talked and how to be able to market products. The same type of attitude,
same kind of maturity.
Yeah.
Same kind of maturity on how they approach it, their experience, and how they handle themselves.
Jennifer, no problem at all. Just being out there at Gainesville, watching this young man test, and of course his history and PDRA, I had to walk up to him about coming on the podcast and talk about his debut there at Gainesville. And
Absolutely.
I tell you, it's not going to be the last time that we see him in NHRA or PDRA. He's got a pretty good footprint there at PDRA, especially with his dad, and has a rich history there.
I'd say so. He's got a ton of history, he and his family. So like I said, just doing research on him, I was very impressed with he and his family. And just like other people have said here tonight, I've got a really good history and just sound like really great people, good people, good, solid family. And that's good to hear. But like you said, as far as bringing a bike on the show, it's not the only person we've brought on with bikes, and it's not going to stop. We're going to continue to bring on other people. We got buddies we know at the track that race a lot of bikes, and like I said, I appreciate and admire them because it's something different. It's something I've never experienced myself, so I can respect it and appreciate it.
Man, we can get you a little 50cc motorcycle. Go out there and you can race a street class. You're probably going to make the person in the other lane a little ticked off that they got to sit there and break out the calendar and look at it before they leave.
I know. I think Jeremy and guys, they could give me a pit bike. I'd have to get the leathers, and man, there ain't enough cow to cover me. But It'd be funny. I just need to get on one of the electric bikes, just twist and let it eat. You know what I mean? It's like going, as long as I don't have to shift, I'm all right, and just never, ever look back. Guy could be broke on the line. I'm still just focused straight ahead. But, it's good like that. It's good. But everybody, we wanted to tell you, thank you very much for tuning in for this late on-the-spot motorsports media. Mitchell and I, we had an opportunity to go to the Gatornationals this past weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with Mitchell. And I'll tell you what, even though it rained, we got an opportunity to meet a lot of people. We got an opportunity to meet a lot of racers, fans, sportsman racers, press, and had a really good time. How about you, Mitchell?
Yeah, I had a great time, especially, being able to talk to Greg Anderson in the pits, talk about breaking the record, running 6:44. The previous record was held by Erica Enders back in 2022. I think she was racing her teammate, Bo Butner, at that time, and she lost the round on a hole shot, but she got the national record. And now, before then, I want to say Greg Anderson had the record for quite a few years. And that's why he was kind of talking about, I think, I was talking about the current record, and he said, well, it's been, years ago. And he was talking about himself for having a national record in an interview. But real great time having an interview with him and Billy Carroll, with Elderbrock and all the things that they do for contingency for the sportsman racers and the professional ranks as well. Just a really great interview there. We got to talk to Brandon Miller, very sharp young man. It's got quite a few little national championships there in his belt.
Oh my
in different
goodness!
categories.
He just downplays it like, just this.
I wouldn't say little championships,
right.
but,
World Championship and top sportsman, numerous top dragster and top sportsman division titles in Division I, multinational event winners. But to him, it's like going, oh yeah, we were just passing through. It stopped off here, and he's quite funny, man, about it. But he's putting in a lot of effort, so I enjoy talking to him. I didn't enjoy the couple of retakes we had to do, okay, but but we had fun. And
the water went down the wrong pipe for Robert, so we had to stop it and start all back over. Hey, good thing it was recorded; it wasn't live, so we were able to do that. And I want to thank NHRA for inviting us, letting us be there and serve as media and use the media room for some of the interviews. And I want to apologize to KSR, man. We had them up there talking about Factory Stock Showdown. For some reason, there was some interference that was going on that messed up the mics and wasn't picking up the sound. And we're going to try to do our best to bring them back on and dive into Factory Stock Showdown. It's a really neat class. Door cars running into sevens. Just unreal. If you ever go to a race and they're racing, look around at the car, at the engineering part of it.
Yep.
It's pretty amazing what they're doing with these full-size cars.
And they were fielding four. They were fielding four Mustangs. And all of them were competitive. The last one just had a little hiccup on the Starline, spun slightly, but all of them were mid 770s.
A great group of guys, and they actually know a gentleman that we know very well, Ben Devereaux with Big Stuff, and they run all Big Stuff on their cars. And so we were really trying to tie everything in together for both Big Stuff and for KSR. And unfortunately, we had that mishap. But we're going to try to do our best to try to get them back on, maybe all of them on the podcast at one time. We can have up to 8 people during one of these live streams. So we're going to try to work out those details.
Yep. You're right. And like I said, we ran into a lot of good people and met a lot of new people that we're going to reach out to and hopefully plan on coming in on the podcast in the future. But we did lock down. We got the Super Stock World Champ Jimmy Hidalgo Jr. coming on the beginning of next month. Country dog, Cooter himself. Okay, so but hopefully his father's coming on too. We had a great conversation with both of them and
Too
learned a
bad
little
they
bit
can't
more
hand
about
out any of that catfish through the TV screen.
I'm going to talk about that forever. I mean, because that is some downright good eating. But
And I'm going to tell you, I don't eat fish, Robert. I mean, I eat saltwater fish, but I'm not a freshwater fish type of person. But I tell you what,
oh yeah,
that was some good
that right
catfish.
there make a change. That'll make a change. But
I'll
we
definitely
met
sit down and eat some more.
right. We met some of their friends and family there who just super nice, super hospitable, and so it's appreciated. So we look forward to bringing them on and talking to them because an amazing season the man had, Super Stock World Champion, okay, and then in Stock Eliminator ended up with number 2 by 1 point. It's only the first time I think ever in stock or super stock, whatever, that the drivers accumulated over 700 points and did not win the championship. I think he had 712, and the fellas out in Oregon, Joe, oh my goodness, it's a pair of brothers. It's slipping my brain right now. Anyway, they had 713. They had 1 point more. Sorensen, that's it. Joe Sorensen and his brother. They had 713. Jimmy had 712. I mean, you can't get any more nail biter than that. So that's a throwdown. And then, like I said, so they're chasing right now. They're in Louisiana at the Cajun Nationals, the Sports Nationals racing.
Yeah, and while you mention that, Robert, I want to remind everybody that, today and tomorrow and possibly, I think, even Saturday, you can go watch all the action there at the Cajun Sport Nationals on NHRA TV. You can actually also flip over to YouTube and look up NHRA. It will pop up there. You're sitting around in your office and you want something to hear. Hey, just put it on and listen to what's going on. Every once in a while, take a glimpse over there at your phone, as long as it don't get you in trouble at your job. But NHRA TV, they're doing a great job of bringing racing into people's living rooms when they can't make it to the events. So
that's true. That's true.
I want to thank them for that.
Absolutely. We thank for the opportunity to come, but we also want to thank Red Line Oil for coming on board this year, and also for Scorpion Racing Products for coming on board this year. Not only are they involved with the podcast, but they're also involved with the bracket racing series at Gainesville and South Georgia Motorsports Park. They're right here in Ocala, Florida. I'm in Jacksonville. He's in Stark. Scorpion's in Ocala. So they're local, and they're a great company to work with, and for the sportsman racers all the way up to the professionals. So we ask y'all to support them too. And also, thank you for everybody's suggestions. We've had many people reach out to us with suggestions of people and stuff like that, and we've reached out to several of them, and we got a couple of them even scheduled. So we thank you for that. So we ask you to please continue to do that. If you got any suggestions or anything, we're open to it. But also, follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube, also Instagram, and also Spotify. This interview will be uploaded to Spotify in a day or two. But we ask everybody, especially now, to go to YouTube and subscribe and follow us on that. Subscribe and share. We really want to push that platform. So we ask you, that's a way of helping us out by following us on all of them. So we appreciate it.
Yep. And tune in next Thursday night at 7. We got another guest coming on. He owns a pro mod, Tommy Omens. So we're going to have him on.
I was thinking it was the following week.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Tommy's next week. Okay. Yep. Okay. Looking forward to that. That.
It's going to be a great show, so don't miss out. And we're going to put some reminders out there on the page beginning early next week.
Sounds like a game plan.
And then after that Thursday, we'll be back at Gainesville Raceway for race 5 and 6 of the Summit. Oh, no, it's not the Summit. It's the Scorpion Products.
But you forgot one other thing. In between next Thursday's podcast and Saturday's race at Gainesville, Southeast Gassers are going to be in South Georgia. okay, for both Friday and Saturday. So I'm going up for at least one day to follow the Southeast Gassers. So I'm really looking forward to that. So if you got some time available, come on over to South Georgia Motorsports Park and follow the Southeast Gassers Association. The best heads up 1967 era drag racing you'll ever run across.
So it is a pretty neat thing to go see. It's done just like they did it back in the days. They got the backup girls and all. The cars got names on them. Every car has got a name.
Yep.
So
yep. All stick
good.
shifts, no rev limiters, straight axles or raised up in the air. It's just like it was in 1967. The real true things. Heads up, no times up, 8th mile racing.
Yep. So. And then a Scorpion Racing ET series at Gainesville on Saturday and Sunday. So a lot of things going on. I want to thank Robert for going up there to South Georgia and taking care of the media duties, which he's happy about doing it anyway because he's been wanting to go see this. Yeah, and it's the first time they've raced at South Georgia Motorsports Park.
Yep. I just want to go. I'm going to take my dad with me. We're just going to sit up there and eat popcorn in the stands or whatever. But any way you look at it, we're going to enjoy it. So we thank everybody once again for tuning in, and we appreciate it.
See y'all next Thursday.
Have a good night, everybody. Take care.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.
Ready to take your engine to the next level? Scorpion Racing Products delivers precision-engineered, high-performance rocker arms that dominate the track. 100% CNC machined in the USA with aerospace-grade aluminum for unmatched strength and durability. Our rocker arms handle extreme conditions with multiple ratios available to fit your needs. Backed by our exclusive lifetime warranty. When performance matters, choose Scorpion Racing Products. Proven, reliable, unstoppable.